Have you noticed how your confidence rises and falls depending on how people react to you? One day you feel strong because someone appreciates you, the next day you feel uncertain because they didn't. Here's what's really happening. Your mind has tied your value to attention. This isn't about them. It's about the quiet habit of measuring yourself through other people's responses, and that habit slowly steals your independence. Buddhist teaching points to something simple: suffering grows when identity depends on external approval. When you rely on reactions, your peace becomes temporary. You adjust your words, your decisions, even your personality just to stay accepted. By the end of this video, you will see why the need for validation weakens discipline, how silence strengthens character, and how building you internally creates a steadier kind of confidence. Think of it like this: every time you speak just to impress, your mind learns that approval equals safety. Your brain learns patterns. If praise comes after certain behavior, you repeat it even when it goes against your principles. Slowly, your actions stop reflecting who you are and start reflecting what gets accepted.
You cannot deny the evidence.
This is how character becomes unstable.
The very foundation of
you don't notice it immediately because the reward feels good. But over time you hesitate before expressing honest thoughts. You measure sentences carefully not for truth, but for reaction. You become cautious, not wise. The moment approval disappears, your certainty disappears with it because it was never built inside. Silence shows you the difference between who you are and who you perform to be. When there is no audience, no reaction, and no need to respond, your real thinking becomes visible. You don't need more noise. You need space to hear your own reasoning. In silence, excuses sound weaker. You begin to notice how often words were used to avoid responsibility. You recognize that discipline begins before speech, it begins in thought. Without constant expression, judgment becomes clearer and emotional reactions settle. What remains is intention. And intention shapes character more than any explanation ever can. Attachment turns love into fear. When you depend on acceptance, you start protecting impressions instead of protecting principles. Notice the cost. You tolerate behavior you disagree with, agree with ideas you question, and remain silent when honesty would require effort. Over time this changes decisions. Weak language leads to weak actions because both come from the same source: avoidance. You start choosing comfort over integrity. And the more you repeat that pattern, the harder it becomes to act independently.
Look around you.
You are no longer deciding based on what is right, but based on what keeps harmony in the moment. The immediate relief replaces long-term respect. And then it hits you: your peace was never disturbed by people, it was disturbed by dependence on their reaction. You realize you have been negotiating with your own standards just to remain accepted. The moment becomes clear: strength was always available, but unused. You begin to think, I can stay calm even if approval disappears. The fear was not rejection. The fear was standing without external confirmation. And once you face that directly, something stabilizes inside you. You understand a simple truth. Respect grows when your behavior stays steady without an audience. From that moment, discipline becomes easier because it no longer waits for agreement. Start small, reduce the need to explain every decision. Let actions communicate consistency. One boundary today is enough to begin: speak only when words improve clarity, not when they chase acceptance. Choose pauses before reactions. Allow disagreement without immediate defense. Make one decision daily that aligns with principles rather than comfort. Over time, these small choices rebuild self-trust. Silence stops feeling empty and starts feeling stable because it is no longer avoidance, it is control. Gradually your behavior becomes predictable to yourself. And predictability inside creates confidence outside. You were never incomplete. You only practiced living through other people's opinions. Come back to yourself. When decisions come from clarity instead of reaction, confidence stops depending on approval. The strongest identity is the one that remains steady, even when nobody is watching.